Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast with your hosts, Kyle Borganoni and Matthew Betz.
Welcome in. Tuesday, October 7th here. Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Borganoni, and I am joined, as always, by Matthew. I'm leaving you for the beach, Betz.
I could tell you had a little extra pep in your step. There's like a few times in the calendar, and we love what we do for work, but if you've ever been in a position where perhaps your Monday to Friday isn't your life goal and passion, there's a couple days in the calendar where you just come in and your mood is great because you know what's around the corner. If you're a teacher, my wife, I'm sure Emma's the same way, my wife always used to be that day or two before, Christmas break, mood through the roof. Could have a ton of stuff to do, paperwork behind, still mood through the roof. But when you are about to leave on a vacation, the day before,
oh baby,
I mean, you are sky high, Kyle. So I could sense it. I think the people can feel it too. So yeah, you're leaving me. I'll be by myself trying to figure out how to break down the slate later in the week. But I know you're excited, man. It should be a great trip for you. Reset, come back, watch the Falcons knock off the Bills on Monday Night Football this week.
Let's go.
Should be a great week.
I mean, the team's beatable now. The Bills, that is.
I mean, you see Drake May? Come on.
Oh, I saw Drake May, and the world saw him have a couple, including one throw that gets played over and over and over again, and it's worth it.
You're talking about the one on the sideline of Diggs?
Yep.
On the move? Yeah. Dude, it's easier said than done, obviously, in hindsight, not being, on the field. As you might find, it's very easy to analyze this from your couch. But they just let him roll right every single time, and he was just killing him. Man, you got to force him left. But man, happy to see my boy on the big stage, primetime. Huge win for the Patriots and huge win for us in Survivor. Dude. I mean, what a week of carnage. If you guys listen to the Friday show, Kyle and I, of course, recorded that before Thursday Night Football when everybody knew the Rams would win that game, even we thought. And that's what's so fun about the NFL, man, is literally every week, it's impossible to predict these outcomes. And we saw a ton of those come from behind wins this past week. Very fun slate.
Yeah, I feel like Survivor is something we added to the podcast this year. We kind of teased it last year, but we added it to the mix. And it's been a really, really fun addition of figuring out where to go with this and also understanding that there are certain picks that seem obvious. The Rams, we really considered, and I think I used the phrase, they were a slam dunk on the podcast because you're like, oh, yes, man, that would be so cool if the 49ers won. But it's just okay, but we're going to go with the Colts for these reasons, and we're saving the Rams. So anyways, if you've rode with us with Survivor Pool, that has been a super fun addition this year. We are still live, and I feel pretty good about our picks so far this week, but crazier things have happened in the NFL season. So like Betz mentioned, I will be MIA after this podcast. I'll be at the beach. I've gone on this trip 5 of the last 6 years, this point of the season. So this exact time every single year. But we do have a special guest for Friday's podcast and by special guest, this is a way bigger name than you and I. This is one of the goats of the industry. It's Rich Rebar, who is now Sharp Football. He's of Roto World for a long time. I feel like I have listened to Rich for a long time. In fact, little known fact, when I was a wee little lad of a writer, I'm talking 2016, I wrote an article, it was one of my first articles ever, about how, fantasy football, we can think about rushing quarterbacks and how they're kind of a cheat code. And I got called out by the whatever Twitter world was in 2016. That's Rich Rebar's term. And I had never heard of Rich Rebar. And I was like, oh, am I going to get sued? And I literally thought in that moment, did I do something wrong? Rich and I DM back and forth. This was over 10 years ago. And he was so kind to me. He's like, dude, you're not stealing from me. You're good. You're totally fine. And it really marked me of realizing there are very nice people in this industry and very smart people like Rich.
Dude, I never heard that story before.
I don't think I've shared that. I mean, it was the very, very beginning of footballers, all that stuff. But I had no idea that Rich invented the term Konami code about rushing quarterbacks. He's one of the OGs of the industry.
Dude, it's a good thing you're not going to be here. I mean, he might rough you up a little bit.
He probably doesn't even remember.
No, probably not. But yeah, it should be a great show. Rich is awesome. I love the way he analyzes the game and talks about football and all that stuff. So I think it'll be a really good episode for you guys to listen to on Friday and get his takes from DFS. So yeah, should be an awesome show. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, and I've listened to Rich's shows for a long time. He does a Pick Six show with John Daigle that he's done for years too, where he just analyzes the DFS slate. So anyway, that'll be Friday's podcast. So Betz won't be alone. He won't be. You're also not in charge of like all the spreadsheets and tech this week.
I actually am in charge of all that stuff behind the scenes. I mean, if the site crashes, you know who to DM. Kyle, when he's on the beach, he wants to receive all your messages. Hey, this is not working. Hey, where's this article? Just make sure you reach out to Kyle this week. Definitely do that.
Yeah, my pace of play article, tournament takes, Chris Cash is going to be writing those this week. So my biggest worry, because I like taking time off, but I also know with our company, there are parts of this engine that I am used to cranking the wheel. And I've been the guy doing it for a while. I'm interested to see how Thursday and Friday shows go. I'm interested to see what those three bozos end up doing. But on this episode, we will review this past week, celebrate with some awesome listeners who won big, including one of them that just punched Betz right in the face in a tournament, just right in his face. And then we'll turn the page and talk about week 6. So even though I will not be playing this slate, I will not be playing week 6, I do have a initial reaction of the games, salary standouts, all that stuff. So Betz and I will talk about that, but let's review our process. If I can find, there it is.
Weekly Rewind.
See, I'm already got one foot out the door, Betz. Up my feet, my toes are in the sand.
You cannot be more in vacation mode right now. Just completely checked out.
So this past week, if I had to summarize it in one way, it's simply this. The chalk completely smashed. So if you had a popular play, guess what? Everyone else did too. And if you played them, they did really, really well across the board. Like I'm looking at my cash review article right now where I break down, here are the most popular plays. I mean, if you play Justin Fields, you said on the podcast 70+% of the field. It was at 78% in one of my double ups. So like everybody played Justin Fields. He got there in the fourth quarter, like 50% of his points were there. But then all the running backs, okay? Achane, Taylor was great, Breece Hall. And then the cheapies, our boy Rico Dowdle, who was our RB1 on the week in best plays, just absolutely smashed. That felt like a really good call for us to kind of like plant our flag and say, we're playing Rico in cash. But even Rachaad White, let's say you didn't go Rico, like you were not completely buried because Rachaad White was also a great play at 4.7. So like those plays smashed. A lot of the wide receivers did really well. JSN was our top play. He killed it. So like cash kind of came down to like one or two decisions. And even the chalk defenses, you played the Saints, I played the Texans. That was actually the difference in the cash line for me, is that I made that decision. So super chalky slate.
It was. And I feel like it kind of compounds on itself when you have these smaller slates. Like it was still 10 games, but we were used to in the first month of the season having 12, 13 gamers where there's an extra couple of games to pick from the player pool. So when you have the chalk condense a little bit more than it has in the past with bye weeks and stuff like that, and that chalk is so strong, like literally like the Millie Maker winner was like the cash team with like one pivot, right? I mean, if you didn't play cash teams, basically cash style teams in tournaments, you probably did not do very well, i.e. me. Kyle, they said you should make some low roster pivots in tournaments. That's what they told me to do. And I paid the price. So yeah, shout out to, we'll talk about it here in a minute. Dustin in Discord took down the SPY, which is what I write up every week in the DFS pass for my small field review article. He came in first. I came in like 300th. So Dustin literally took my money, and I'll tell the kids tonight, hey, sorry, we can't go to Chili's because Dustin is. But in that small field, I knew Fields would be like wildly popular. So I pivoted off of him. I played a Herbert stack, which we're going to talk about the Chargers today more. Played a Herbert stack with Hughes and Ladd. Yeah, it didn't really work. And I pivoted off the Saints defense and played the Giants defense.
There you go.
From a process standpoint, felt pretty solid. Got him at 4% in this tournament. And of course, I saw the pick 6 and I was like, well, it's over. So yeah, man, it's kind of wild. Like, I don't know if, and we should probably just talk about this like higher level too. there does feel like there's like maybe like 3 to 5 slates every year where the chalk is just unbelievably strong and these plays that are so popular just crush. We've already had 2 of them this year with the Mariota week when he was, 4K. Do you feel like this is like not what we should expect, but just like moving forward, the popular plays continue to be very, very strong because like projection systems are getting better, like DFS players are getting smarter? Like how are you handling kind of these recent weeks of like, yeah, play some low roster guys and then just get buried in tournaments?
Yeah, this is the end of DFS. That's my conclusion, is that the game that we once know and love, it has been optimized. It's no, I think so. We always tell people, whatever your cash lineup is, you need to enter that into a tournament just to see what happens. Okay, not like a high stakes one, but just like do that, because I have so many people. If I just would have entered my cash lineup, I could have done this. Do that every week. Throw it in a single entry somewhere. Like, make sure you do that. I'm looking at the Millie Maker winner, and this will kind of go into the higher level point. But the Millie Maker winner played Justin Fields at quarterback. Check. Their running backs were Dowdle, Jonathan Taylor, and Breece Hall. Check, check, check. Their wide receivers, maybe you've heard of them before, was Jackson Smith and Jigba. Then his former Ohio State teammate,
rookie sensation wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka.
If you haven't heard, that is, I'm going to play it again because that's Gronk on
so
Fox trying to pronounce Emeka Egbuka. It floored Betz and I, so I just like, whenever we say his name now, this is what we're playing.
Rookie sensation wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka.
Gronk can't say the name. He can't do it. And as Betz was saying earlier, of all of the football meathead crayon eaters, Gronk is at the top.
Oh man, so good. If you haven't seen it, it's from the post game on Sunday evening when Gronk is on the set with Fox trying to pronounce the name. And it's so good. And all the guys there with him are giving him a hard time. He just tries to blow right past it as if it didn't happen. They're like, wait, say that again? He just could not do it. Oh man, so good. But yes, continue with the
I had to.
Lineup.
So the wide receivers, JSN, Egbuka, Waddle, who was another popular play. The tight end was Turd Ferguson, who is the second most popular tight end. And then Dowdle in the flex and Saints defense. Like, this is a very chalky lineup with just Egbuka as like a little bit lower rostered. This is what won the Millie Maker. And I did get some comments in Discord of like, so like, how did nobody copy this lineup? Because it seems very, very like going back like, oh, that seems very obvious. I think the way that we've come to play DFS is that you want to have chalky pieces and then 2 or 3 different little pivots or leverage points. Like, I played in a couple lineups instead of Chris Olave, I played Rashid Shaheed. And I felt like such a G. I'm telling you, I'm at my kid's baseball game, I'm rooting, and I'm like, 100-yard bonus already for Shaheed, 22 DK points. I mean, I'm gonna be. I put that in the Millie Maker, by the way. I sound like such a genius. I have Dowdle in that lineup. That lineup's doing great. I have JSN in that lineup. It didn't matter. I think I scored like 193, and it was like not that great.
Yeah, it's been tough. I think, and to kind of like wrap up this point on like the popular plays being so good, I do think projection systems across the industry are getting better over time, just like anything in markets, right? Stuff gets more efficient. So the projection systems are getting stronger and people are building with projection systems now more than ever the last couple of years. And sims are a big part of DFS. So like people are not just sitting down on a Sunday morning at 11 and being like, I like this guy this week, I'll just play him. Like everybody is using some sort of projection system. So that's why it's harder to win now than it was 5 or 6 years ago. That's just kind of the truth. But I do still want to caution people, and this is not going to be the norm every single week. There will be weeks where the popular plays fail, and when you do play kind of the smart, air quotes, low roster guys and pivots and stuff like that, you will have solid weeks. So if you've been playing like I've been playing and having weeks where I'm just like buried because the popular players are doing so well in tournaments, do not get discouraged because I don't think this is the norm every single week. There will be weeks like this. There are every year. But we don't have it, 17 weeks a year where this is the case. There will be some spots where like the popular game of the week flops or a player gets injured, right? That was super popular. Like that stuff will happen. So I just wanted to reiterate that for people in tournaments. This is not, I don't think, going to be the norm moving forward.
Yeah, the industry has gotten sharper, and a lot of the players that used to play DFS, I want to say 5 to 7 years ago, they've probably moved on at some level to focus more on, props, gambling, that aspect of the game even more so than just only exclusively DFS, where, 5 years ago, this was the only part of the game. And so casual people would throw in lineups at the last moment because that was the only thing to do. Now, the casual money that gets thrown in is, what if I just throw in this $5 parlay, with me and my buddies? It's like, it's just a different subset that's part of the game. But I think cash is going to keep coming down to 2v2, 1v1 decisions. And so you hit the cash line and you had two pieces different than me. You had the Saints defense and Olave, correct?
Correct.
And I had the Texans defense, and I had a little wiggle move in my cash lineup where I played Jameson Williams at 4,900 because I wanted access to the Lions game. They scored, they hit their implied total. Sounds great, except for Jameson Williams doesn't care about my DFS lineup.
Been tough, man.
Dude, that outcome, did that not shock you? We know the floor is sometimes low, but it was absurdly low.
You say, in hindsight, the Lions are going to score 35 points against the Bengals. And I say, that everybody ate, right? Like, they all had an awesome game. Did Jared Goff throw for, was it 3 or 4 touchdowns? He threw for 3. If you tell me that outcome, I'm like, man, this offense is rolling. All these guys are awesome. And of course, David Montgomery throws for 1, which is weird. And, then Isaac Tesla comes in and all he does is catch touchdowns. So of course he scores. So yeah, it was a frustrating week if you stacked up Lions, which I played an onslaught in another tournament. And I was like, oh baby, I'm going to cook right now. I'm ready to go. I had all the popular plays early that just crushed. And I thought this is going to be great. And one of those pieces was Jameson Williams. So sadly, no cash for me. But that's the tough part with the Lions, man, is in cash games, assuming health for everybody, it can go anywhere. The ball can go anywhere. Any game, any, play call or whatever. But in tournaments, that's what makes them stacking very fun because of the uncertainty of how the targets are going to go, behind Amon-Ra, that there usually is lower rostered pieces. And we talked about that on the show. Hey, Laporta's not going to get played. Jameson won't get crazy, but you could actually kind of feel the steam coming on him Saturday and Sunday. Everybody was like, oh, 4,900 Jameson Williams. Yeah, of course. So yeah, the Lions are frustrating, but they're also very fun for those outcomes too.
It was interesting because I made them my slate breakers, and Montgomery caught 2 touchdowns. Laporta was really, really good, and Jameson was the one that killed you if you played him in your lineup. So it's that combination. I think the phrase that I used was I'm probably going to guess wrong because there's so many options. Spoiler alert, I guessed wrong. It was
sure did.
It was not great. But anyway, we want to celebrate with some people. I'll let you read this first one because this is from your buddy Dustin, who took your entry money.
Dustin, come on, dude. This is just rude. He said, first big win of the season, first place in the SPY. Thanks, Borg Betz, for the great content. It is chili time. Yeah, in first place in that tournament is a nice $5,000. So huge win for Dustin. That's what I was hoping to get this week. But if I couldn't have it, Dustin, I'm happy you do.
Yeah. So this is a fun little side bit, but I realized that Chili's is a fun part of this show. It started as just a fun bit, but I feel now we're at the point where it's expected.
You think it's a bit?
When's the last time you went? Because I went this weekend. I went on Sunday.
Honestly, it's been probably 3 weeks, which is I know. I'm embarrassed to even say that out loud.
My boys had a double header on Sunday, and my brother was there, his wife, and the boys were like, hey, we just finished the game. Do you want to go to Chili's, Dad? And so I cried a little,
Sometimes it's hard to tell if you're being a great parent, a great dad, but there's a few signs in life where you're all right, I'm doing something right here. That's one of them.
Yeah. Keep them coming, people. I actually forwarded them to our manager, Damon, just to show him hey, by the way, there's a group of people that are spending their winnings. And we also had another listener who just shared with us hey, you guys talked about that this pays for itself. I get that not every single person is going to be able to win every single time there's variance, all that stuff. But, this one's from Tease. He said, literally second week using the DFS pass. You weren't kidding when you said it pays for itself quick. So anyway, loved hearing those stories. Love celebrating with you guys. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
State of the main slate.
Week 6. We are moving on. It is funny every year when I look at this slate and I go, this is going to be the slate that I know the least. But me and my friends, we get a house, a bunch of our kids, are just running around. But like, we all watch that Thursday night. We play a DFS contest between the 4 or 5 of us. So Eagles and Giants on Thursday night will be a lot of fun to be able to watch.
We need this win, Kyle. I mean, I'm a broken man.
You guys are a desperate. Oh no, you're a desperate 4-1 team.
No, just me personally. I need this. Okay. Penn State gets embarrassed against UCLA.
Oh yeah.
Philly's down 0-2 going to Los Angeles. No way we lose the series. It's gonna be fine. Eagles lose in the second half to the Broncos. But at least Drake May showed up for me, Kyle. At least he showed up on Sunday night. So yes, the Philly fan base, we're reeling a little bit right now. But the good news is we got the Eagles on a short week. So hopefully they can, if they don't win this game, Kyle, somebody do a wellness check on me.
We were going through the MLB playoffs with my boys and just talking about different teams and stuff like that. And I just asked them, I was like, so like which teams do we not like? Because, we're Braves fans, but like they love all the different players, they love Ohtani, they think, all that stuff. And they just go, we definitely don't like the Phillies. We definitely don't like that team.
Me either right now. Cosign.
So week 6 is interesting. We have a London game. I just feel like they just keep throwing teams over there. They're like, the Jets. Let's just see what happens over there. So that's going to be Sunday morning is Broncos and Jets. And then Sunday night game is going to be awesome. Chiefs and Lions. And then I did not know until I turned the page for this week that there's a doubleheader on Monday night, because in my mind, I knew I was going to the Monday night game of Bills and Falcons, but there is also Commanders and Bears that takes place an hour later. I just feel like I wanted my Falcons to be front and center. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be on TV, but it's not about me. It's not about me at all.
What's even more disrespectful is the fact that that's the earlier of the 2 games.
Correct.
Usually they put Buck and Aikman on the 8:15 game East Coast, Kyle, so they didn't give you the A squad for that one. They must not be expecting much of a game, i.e., the Falcons are going to blow out the Bills, obviously.
Hey, we've had time to prepare, healing up. It is interesting. I wonder what's the over-under for the Commanders-Bears games, how many times they're going to show the Jane Daniels Hail Mary from last year?
Oh, I think just once, maybe. I would put the line at 1.5, but I would say heavy juice to the under.
Oh, dude, no, they're going to just replay that so many times that everybody and their mom's like, okay, we get it. Noah Brown caught the ball. It was cool. Bears should have won. Bears lost, 10 straight games or whatever after that. Anyway.
And they're going to compare Caleb's stats to Jaden's stats for the first, year plus. Yeah, you can put that stuff. You know what you're going to see on the TV.
Yeah, and they'll do the same thing. Josh Allen, Michael Penix. They'll probably, compare those two.
Of course.
All right, so for the main slate, what we have in front of us is a little bit smaller, especially the afternoon window. There's only 3 games in the afternoon window, so we got to be conscious of how we're building this week and how we attack. So 10 games overall in the main slate. There is one game that is sitting the highest. It is the Panthers going to Dallas, the Rico Dowdle revenge game. We played him last week, and now he talked about like, hey, they know me. They better be ready. He used the phrase, you better buckle up. Ooh. Which I love that.
Rico, let's go.
Oh, dude, I have to share this because there's this. My sister dated this guy in college. Good old boy, good old Southern boy as they are. And he used to use that phrase, you better buckle up. And I'm telling you, my family, we use that phrase. She didn't marry him, but like we use that phrase all the time with each other. And it's like one of my favorite like personas to get in. You better buckle up.
Oh, so it's a dig at him.
Yeah, it kind of is.
You want to give him a shout out on the show or no?
No, he doesn't get no. You jerk. So the Cowboys and Panthers game is at 49.5, which is juicy. It's intriguing, definitely to look at. And we'll have to monitor where Chuba's at in that game, but Rico's definitely on our minds. Give us the top 5 implied totals for the week for this slate.
Yeah, so when we look at team totals, we've got the Packers against the Bengals, 29.5. The Colts, 27 points. Dallas, 26.5. And then we have Tampa at 25.3.
The Rams line, I fudged the line, but they're also up there too at 26. They're taking on the Ravens. I like this set of teams. I don't know if I'm like overwhelmed by the games on this slate of saying like, oh, here's 3 or 4. Like last week, we were talking about like, you could go here with Detroit onslaughts. I don't love overall everything about this week, but which game do you feel like will be the most popular?
Yeah, it's the one you just talked about with Carolina and Dallas. I mean, this total opened 48.5. It's already up a point. We have 2 terrible defenses. We have a Cowboys offense that is just humming right now. They can't be stopped. And at least on the Carolina side, like you saw some life as far as, what they did offensively. So yeah, I think that's the game. And I can't really say anything negative about it. It's in a dome in Dallas. So there's a lot of ways that you could play it as well. So I think it is one of those games that will be very, very popular. I think it'll be Rico again this week. He is priced up relative to last week, of course, but he's still not, overly expensive. So he's going to, I think, fit nicely in cash teams. And then Dak right now is just playing out of his mind. So again, those stacks will look very clean as well.
I think the Tampa Bay and San Francisco game has potential, mostly because Tampa Bay has just been playing out of their mind. Baker and the boys. He has this young guy on his team.
Rookie sensation, wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbegbue.
How did he get to Egbegbue?
It's so good. I'm going to play it at least 10 times today.
Both defenses, though, if you look at that, like Tampa Bay, they were in a great shootout against Seattle, and they're allowing the 6th highest passer rating in the NFL. San Francisco's defense, since Nick Bosa's been out, one of the lowest pressure rates in the NFL. So that was the shocking part about that game. We didn't really get to comment on like what happened in the Rams 49ers game, but like Stafford had all the time in the world to do whatever he wants. He leads the league in passing yardage. So San Francisco's defense, we got to figure out their health, their situation. Christian McCaffrey's going to obviously project really, really well, but it's at 47.5. And I think the Buccaneers are just an engine right now. Baker's been playing incredible and the weapons are really, really great. So I like that game a lot. Last week, I looked at our doc for sneaky games. Here's what we wrote down. You wrote down Carolina and Miami, and that was before we knew the Dowdle stuff, so that was cool. And I wrote down Seattle and Tampa Bay, so we look like freaking geniuses. Don't remember what else we said, but that's what we wrote down in the doc because that was a great game. So any sneaky games you like this week?
I wrote down New England and the Saints, and I was kind of surprised to see the line like not be more than it is, just coming off a huge win against the Bills. Only favored by 3.5 is New England here. They are on the road. So perhaps that's why, but you get a dome environment here with the Saints. And we always know, like, even if the actual efficiency isn't great, which it looked pretty good last week against the Giants, the play volume will be there with the pace of play from Kellen Moore. And on the other side, with how well Drake May is playing and some of his stacking partners are still pretty cheap, I think it's going to be one of those that's pretty easy to afford in your lineup. And also I could see this one going back and forth and going over the total, just given the play volume and the level of play on the New England side. So I do like that game quite a bit. It is also a late window game, so we could also, circle that one in pencil for a late swap opportunity.
New England's defense has played overall well, but they've been more of the bend, don't break, category. Like they're still bottom 10 in yards per play and a couple of other statistics where you go, okay, well, the Saints have the pieces there. So if you wanted to do like a May skinny stack and then bring it back with Olave or Shaheed, like I think that's easy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I haven't really dug into the numbers, but I was shocked Taysom Hill was back last week off of his ACL plus injury.
Just in terms of his timeline?
Yeah, I was very surprised. I don't think he really did much in terms of box score, but I'm sure that'll affect potentially the running backs moving forward too. So we'll see. Kendre is playing a lot as well recently.
Yep. I think he was up to like 40-something% of the snaps where he's just utilized, and a lot of trade rumors about Alvin Kamara that I think might be more fantasy based because of the way his contract works, but that would be interesting. I'm going to throw out Seattle and Jacksonville. You saw Jacksonville have a fun Monday night victory. I don't know if they like played as well as to like do that. They had like obviously the huge interception return. Trevor Lawrence, the first quarter and a half, I feel like the way I was writing it is like, I feel like he's showing a masterclass on ineptitude, and yet ended up, bringing him to victory. But anyway, both of those teams, super interesting. Darnold's been playing great. I'm going to highlight him this week on the Dynasty podcast. I went back and watched the film, but I mean, other than the late interception, which obviously cost him the game, like he was playing great. JSN obviously is money. Torrey Horton is such a fun player. One of the nasty boys we talked about on the Dynasty podcast. But I think that game definitely stands out to me. It's 46.5. The line moved predictably after Monday Night Football. Now the Jaguars are favored by 1.5. It was Seattle before the Monday night game. So it's almost like a pick 'em there. Any initial thoughts on that game?
It's interesting that the Jaguars are favored on a short
on the road,
week, going across the country.
Okay.
To Seattle.
Talk to me.
The Seahawks did have some injuries in the secondary, which has kind of been a problem for them all year, actually. And you saw them kind of get exposed a little bit against Baker. But I don't know. Anytime Trevor Lawrence is favored, man, I just like for fantasy last night, he was awesome. And he did have his moments. But like if you watch the game, you had the full Trevor Lawrence experience where like, oh, that was a great play. Oh, nice run from Trevor Lawrence.
The first quarter and a half was abysmal.
Right. But then like wild inaccuracies and taking multiple delay of game penalties like in your own building. Cohen's got to be like excited, but also incredibly frustrated with kind of the up and downs of Trevor Lawrence. That's been his MO since he's entered the league, is like you see flashes and then you're just, boneheaded stuff on top of it. So I don't know how serious these secondary injuries are for Seattle, but I think I don't bet sides and totals, but I have to bet some Seahawks this week.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Right now, whatever the best line is, I would be taking Seahawks money line at home.
I mean, this is a lock. Kyle told us.
All right, I got to alert the people because that's just, that's what you got to do. Obviously I'm not going to be around, so it doesn't matter to me. Well,
that's when you say in passing and then people forget about it. And then next week when you come back, you're like, guys,
I told
Seattle.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Jaguars defense looks way better than last year. So I got to give a lot of credit there.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're kind of masking the drive to drive inefficiencies that Trevor Lawrence has always had. And so people will look at fantasy, they'll see the rushing output. And I feel like as a they're not 4-1 to me. They're a 2-2 team in my mind.
I think that's fair. They've also had a lot of, I don't want to say luck from turnovers, but I think they might be leading the league.
They are. Yeah.
In takeaways, which when that happens, you're going to win a lot of games. So yeah, if that variance starts to swing away from them, then they'll probably lose a couple close games. But I mean, credit where credit is due. 4-1 and beating Mahomes, is legit.
All right. Which game do you want to be underweight on for week 6?
So on the surface, I like love this game as my initial take, but when I sit down and like think about it more in detail, the Chargers and the Dolphins, in theory, seems like it should be one of those that's like totaled at, 47.5 or 48.5, where you're like, oh, we have high flying offenses on both sides. Like this one could really go crazy here, and Miami's defense has obviously struggled. And the total is currently sitting at, make sure I have this right, 44.5. It feels like fishy to me, like, oh, that's obviously too low. We should bet the over. And I think it's there for a reason. And like this Chargers offense, it's crazy how things changed in the NFL, right? Because just 3 weeks ago, Herbert was like, oh, maybe this guy wins MVP. This offense is unstoppable. You lose your top 2 running backs, Najee and Amarian. They're down to their left tackle 3 because of no Rashawn Slater, no Joe Alt. Now they are potentially going to be without the right guard, Mekhi Becton, and the right tackle, Trey Pipkins. Were both in and out of the lineup last week. So Herbert has no running back help, and he has 3 likely out of his 5 offensive linemen down this week. The offense has just not looked good the last couple of weeks with those injuries offensively. So that's my concern with this game. And then on the Dolphins side, like Jesse Minter has done a really nice job defensively with that unit. I know Tua played decently last week. Waller got there. Waddle got there. But like, I don't know. We've seen Tua have these highs in his career, and then all of a sudden the next week it's a low. So I definitely am more hesitant on that game than I think the market might be.
Okay, so this matchup sounded so familiar to me. I was like, why when Betz is talking about it? Because week 1 of 2023, these two teams played, which meant we talked about on this podcast. I'm sure we gave a whole, scenario. We stacked it up, and that game was 36-34. The Dolphins won. So I was like, oh, that's what I'm remembering. That's my initial take, is that, oh, this is that Dolphins team, and this is not that, right? This is not the same, team, Tyreek. So yeah, I agree with you. It sounds like it's fine, but it's attractive because when you look at the Chargers, you see the pass rate, you see the 3 passing options. Oh, Hampton's hurt. They'll just throw a ton. It doesn't always work like that in DFS. Now, there is some intriguing value we'll find out later about the Chargers backfield. I don't know yet if it's Kamani Vidal season or whatever else we're going to do with it. So just wait. Wait on whatever Chargers takes you want. We'll talk about it later on in the week. I think I want to be underweight. I would be underweight on the Cardinals and Colts. The Colts have been an attractive team. We've talked about them a lot. I've talked about Tyler Warren, but both teams ranked bottom 5 in neutral pace. There is room for this game to be a dud. And do we have any update about Kyler and where he's at injury-wise?
I mean, he came back into the game with his foot injury, and Gannon just said after the game that they're going to monitor it throughout the week. So I don't think he's really in danger of missing. But, you kind of need all pieces of that offense healthy and humming to have functionality, and you certainly don't want your quarterback hampered. So yeah, we'll see as the week goes on, but right now I'm not super worried about it.
I think it's a game that if you want to correlate some pieces, that's totally fine. I think McBride's going to, people have kind of been like, hey, I don't really want to pay up for this anymore. I think he's fine at his price. I did want to mention and say, and give my deepest apologies to the Colts kicker, Spencer Schrader. Sorry,
you personally injured him.
I felt like I did. I felt like I finally bring up a kicker prop, and my dude gets injured because, what did the Raiders run into his knee?
Yeah, they hit him on the knee. Season-ending knee injury.
Can't do that, man. You can't do that. But a lot of people got their bets voided.
Oh, did they? I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah,
I did not personally. So,
so
okay. That's unfortunate.
Cool. So yeah,
cool,
you're not mad at me.
But man, Spencer, get well soon, buddy. He was number 1 kicker in fantasy before last week.
He was K1, dude. As they say.
K1 in the rankings, K1 in our hearts.
All right, which team are you most confident hitting their implied total this week?
Give me the Rams.
We got these both right last week, by the way.
Give me the Rams to put up 27 points. We talked about it last week with Houston, which is kind of why I thought they were a nice play. Just the defensive injuries are too much for Baltimore, and it's not like they're going against, one of the worst teams in the league. The Rams offense is playing out of their mind. Stafford's top 10 in EPA, YPA, passer rating, all the things. He's playing incredibly well. And they're coming off extended bye, air quotes, with the Thursday Night Football game. This looks like an awesome spot to go right back to the Rams. So I think they are going to put up plenty of points here in this spot. And especially after that loss, like the motivation is there for this team to run it up a little bit, I think.
Okay, so I think that they're an interesting survivor play. I do have the Packers. What?
You want to go with the Rams now?
I just think they're interesting.
Don't pull that on me, Kyle.
Okay, because the Packers are the team that are favored by 14.5. Their implied total is at 29.5. Cincinnati has allowed each of the last 4 opponents to surpass their implied total. They're 27th in yards per play, 29th in yards before contact. You're going to see a lot of Josh Jacobs, and their defense is allowing the fewest yards per attempt in the NFL. If it's Jake Browning, thank you, Jesus. If it's somebody else off the street, even better. But I think the Packers at home is our early favorite. We've saved them. Hopefully you didn't take them against the Browns a couple weeks ago, but the Packers at home favored by 14.5. It's chalky, but I think we've been saving our chalk. So that's kind of where I'm at. The Rams in a couple weeks played the Saints, but I think the Rams are a fine play as well.
Do you know who their QB2 is currently with Joe Burrow on IR?
I don't.
Brett ripping farts, baby.
Even better if... Okay, so Like, whenever we do survivor pool stuff, it's not just like, oh, this is a smash play, they're going to kill it. Every single time when we look at a team, I go, okay, what is the route where this team fails? And I guess Chase and Higgins just go bananas. Jordan Love, somehow implodes and they can't run the ball. But they're getting back some offensive linemen. I just think it's really hard to paint a picture where the Bengals on the road with whatever quarterback combination they have do well.
Yeah, for sure. 14.5 is a lot of points in the NFL. I honestly could see this one moving even more towards Green Bay.
15. What's
16?
What's the highest you could see it go?
Maybe 16.5.
That's where I was going to.
Because 17 is the key number, so we'll see.
Which team are you most confident hitting the under of their implied total?
We're going to the Thursday night game. We're taking the Giants, under 17.5. Not a homer pick, but also kind of a homer pick. Obviously, Giants are banged up offensively. No Neighbors. Darius Slayton probably not going to play in this game. The Dart run game and run game with Scatterboot can have success, but I don't think you're going to see a ton of explosive plays from this offense given the wide receiver situation. And Dart, as we talked about, has generally struggled as a passer in his first couple starts. He's 27th among 30 qualified quarterbacks in completion rate over expected and composite efficiency, which looks at that same metric, completion rate over expected, and EPA. In that metric, he's 34th out of 37. So you've got a quarterback who's inexperienced against a motivated Eagles team that honestly should have won that game. So I think this is a good spot to go under 17.5. And looking at these teams and how they played this year, Philly with their offensive issues are 2-3 to the under. The Giants are 1-4. So both teams have been under teams so far in 2025.
All right, two teams that are kind of hard to have confidence in. It's Baltimore. They're at 19. If it is Cooper Rush or your boy Snoop Huntley, former Pro Bowler.
I think it'll be Snoop.
Dude, that's a conversation. We got to have it for cash because
what is he
runs.
4K?
I think he's 4,500.
Come on, DK.
I know. They were like, hey, let's get the backup, and let's price him up just enough so they have to think about it. Let me make sure that's correct. Yep, 4,500. Same price as Cooper Rush, but which is just a slap in the face. Dylan Gabriel, who's 4,400. So I don't love Baltimore. Also, Arizona, it's at 21. They're 27th in YPA. The Colts defenses look really, really good. I don't love the Cardinals on the road this week, especially if their running game is just going to... I think their running game is just going to be erased this week with Carter and Bam Knight. If DeMarco's allowed back on the team, whatever else it is. So I just don't love the Cardinals this week. Not a team I have a ton of confidence in. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Salary standouts.
All right, it is early in the week, and these are the plays that we are most interested in. We have circled player pools. If you want full access to that, a first look article is up on the website. You can see all the pretty charts, something that Matthew is going to be taking over for the rest of the week. So, make sure you conditionally format for everybody.
I don't even know how to do that.
It's pretty fun, man. That changed my life years ago.
It's pretty fun, man.
He said.
Oh boy.
All right,
you need the beach. You need to get away to the beach.
Oh, dude, I'm a big. Let's just unplug. I'm good. This is what I'm gonna be doing on the beach. You know what people want to know?
What?
Me, and my friends, we come up with a group playlist. So we have our speaker there, but then everybody adds a song, and you kind of just keep passing around for a couple hours, and the mix is just the most eclectic. You could throw in, some Goo Goo Dolls song, and then hardcore rap comes in right after it.
Beautiful.
And then it's like K-pop, Demon Hunter. It could be any stuff. So I kind of like that part, but I'm probably just gonna be, throwing the frisbee, throwing a baseball, enjoying my drink on the beach.
I'm very jealous.
Yep. These are the quarterbacks that we like earlier in the week. Correct me if you've heard these names before, but Drake May is still too cheap for what he does with his legs. I wanted more on a fantasy outcome on Sunday night, but as a pure thrower, an NFL quarterback, he made every throw that he needed to make in that game. Extended drives, So Drake May at 5.9 is going to be an early, one that we circle against the Saints. And then any of these other dudes that are still in that same range, Daniel Jones, heavy favorite at home, 6K. Sam Darnold, 5.4. They're not moving his price at all. He leads the NFL in YPA. So those three dudes are all going to keep being in the mix if they're this cheap.
Right. And I think, too, when you look at just kind of the context of quarterback pricing, again, we're assuming Lamar Jackson is not going to play, which means the most expensive quarterback on DraftKings is Baker Mayfield at 6,600. So it's like naturally a spend down slate for everybody. So yeah, anybody priced in that 5K range probably projects pretty well from a value standpoint. So I do like those guys quite a bit. If you're spending up in certain spots, like if you think the Rams just put up 30 points, like Stafford is interesting. Same conversation with Jordan Love if they just put up a ton of points. But I think in cash games, you'll see a lot of those 5K quarterbacks.
If you want to spin up for Baker, because he's running for almost 30 yards a game, he's been awesome. Like, I don't fault anybody if you look around at your price, you're like, hey, Drake May's fine. Baker's been really, really good. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, these guys are too cheap. Do you feel like DK pricing still has not caught up with the context of the slate, like you just mentioned? It's like, who else am I spinning up for? It'd be different if, like, Josh Allen was 8K on this slate. And it's like, oh, well, I'm going to, like, everybody's cheap.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been right as far as like process standpoint for cash games. Like you're seeing that every week. These like mid to low 5K quarterbacks, because of the pricing, are putting up ceiling performances relative to their salary. So if you've been spending up in the past on, I don't know who's even been like on the slate, but like Jalen Hurts he's had some games, but like overall, that's kind of been a disappointment relative to salary when these 5K quarterbacks are just crushing every week. So yeah, I feel like as long as they're going to continue to price it this way, this is kind of the air quotes, like optimal way to build for cash games. They're just too cheap.
Can we talk about the fact that Mac Jones is more expensive than Sam Darnold?
Is he? What's his? Oh yeah, 5,600. Dude, Mac Daddy played so well in that game.
No, it's cool, but like Sam Darnold deserves some respect.
I know Darnold's playing out of his mind.
Anyway, it's funny when you go through some of the names. Geno's just stuck. Like Geno's more expensive than Trevor Lawrence.
That's pretty funny.
That's a slap in the face. All right, running back. There is a guy named Christian McCaffrey who, when you sort by weighted opportunities per game, which you can find in the first look article, it just basically takes somebody's rush attempts and then multiplies their targets because they're worth about 2.5 times a carry. He is so far on the season, he is averaging 41 weighted opportunities per game. Our man is not broken yet, but everybody else on the team is. He's 8,400 early in the week. I know I'm not going to be riding with you, Betz. You're going to be riding solo, Jason Derulo style. But will you be playing CMC in cash? Man, that was a good little reference.
You like that one. You're proud of that one.
I'll add that to the mix on the beach.
There you go. On DraftKings, I think it's tricky. Like, do you play JT or CMC? Because they're only $100 difference. Flip a coin. On FanDuel, JT is 10,200. McCaffrey is 9,500. So I think you'll see a lot more McCaffrey over there, relatively speaking. But you can't go wrong. Both guys, unbelievable usage. They're just playing so well. Like, their teams are projected to score a ton of points. Flip a coin.
Josh Jacobs, 7,300 at home. Biggest implied total of the week. I really like that price at 7,300. That just feels really like if you wanted to grab one of the studs, CMC or JTT, and then get Jacobs, and then we'll talk about some of these cheaper guys. Like that's probably my initial way that I would want to build.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, in that 6K range, Kyron, you talked about the Rams earlier being a team that you can have confidence in. He's 6.3. Javonte Williams, 6.4. We have to keep talking about him because he's been really, really, really good. So he's averaging over 100 total yards per game. It's the best game environment. So I think the conversation is going to be, what do you do with Rico in that game if he's the only guy? He's 5.8. And Javonte, like those are going to be both projected as really, really good plays. I think people want to play Rico more, but I have to mention Javonte because he's been solid. I
was so impressed with how well he played last week too. Maybe just the Jets are that bad, but Dallas was down 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line, and he still was running free, doing whatever he wanted. So if they even get like linemen back this week and they can get healthier, obviously the matchup is interesting. I do agree with you. I think a lot of people want to play Rico, not just for the recency bias of what he just did and everybody just played him in cash, but also the narrative of the revenge here. So I could see Javonte not being like a contrarian play, but relative to, Kyren, Rico, those guys, he could be a nice pivot in tournaments.
There will be some interesting, plays under the 6K range. Judkins and ETN are both 5,900. I have them both circled as like, oh, those are tournament plays that I think would be interesting, getting lost in the mix as price point pivots, PPPs, around Rico Dowdle. They're interesting. And then I know people want to talk about Michael Carter because he was the guy we talked about last week. You want to prefer early downs to third down stuff, but I probably won't mess around with that. And then the Chargers guys at 5K, Vidal and Hassan Haskins, one of the original Nasty Boys, is definitely another name that you can have circled early in the week. We'll wait and see what the rest of the slate. It's interesting. When we talked last Tuesday, Rico Dowdle was definitely not a name we ever mentioned at all. Like, he wasn't in the salary standouts. He wasn't in the article. Wasn't in anything. And then we get to the podcast and we're like, hey, Rico's, I think, our favorite. That's how we talked it. I was like, there's Rico, there's Rachaad White. And then in our best plays, we go, no, Rico is our number one running back play overall on the entire slate. So just remember, things can change throughout the week. Who do you like at wide receiver this week, and why is his name Puka Nacua?
Stop me if you've heard these guys before. Puka Nacua against the Ravens. Jackson Smith-Njigba against the Jaguars. They're pretty good at what they do, and they're still not expensive enough. So we get these 5K quarterbacks. You can spend down a little bit at like a Rico or something like that in cash games, punt it off at defense, fit at least one of these guys. There's going to be lineups, I think, that you can play both, but Puka and JSN, man, they're just doing unbelievable things on a football field right now, and they should be a lot more expensive.
Do you think that people will be able to play, let's say, a CMC, JTT, Puka, and JSN in the same lineup?
Probably not. There probably will be a decision.
We don't have a 4K running back right now.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make a decision on this slate as far as cash games, but I don't have takes right now. We'll talk about it more on Friday, but yeah,
Rich can give you the answers.
Yeah, Rich will tell us who to play. Exactly.
The best part is whoever's listening to this right now. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Just think about this. I'll be at the beach. You'll definitely not make the wrong decision. You'll totally choose the right 1v1 or 2v2.
Don't put that evil on us, Kyle. Come on.
If you wanted to do a really, really sick and twisted thing, you could sort this week by targets per dollar, and you'll find a name at the top. You could also sort by expected fantasy points per game. Number 1, Puka Nacua. Number 2 wide receiver in expected fantasy points per game, Chris Olave. And he is the exact same price as he always is, 5,100. He is the new Jacoby Myers / whoever that will forever be this price, because he'll never catch a touchdown.
I mean, if you want between 10 and 14 points every week, that's your dude. If you want more, this is not your guy. So it's so bad. Man, every week it's like the targets, they're there, but there's just, Rattler's just going to leave a lot of production there on the table, but he's going to project well. He'll fit nicely in cash builds. Again, he'll be in my cash article. Like, it's just a good spot for Olave. So what could go wrong?
All right, a couple other wide receivers. Michael Pittman's basically in the same spot too, 5,400. It's going to project well. Target shares there. Ted McMillan has yet to score a touchdown.
This is the week.
He's been so good, man. 6K, 35% of the team's receiving yards. It's the game we talked about. It's at 49.5. I think he's a really good play, and I think he's setting up really well as, hey, if you don't play Rico in tournaments, like Tet's going to give you leverage over them. Because I can't see people really wanting to stack up Bryce, but maybe they will. They'll look at the quarterback metrics and go, whoo, Dallas is really, really bad. But Tet needs to be talked about early in the week. I did have a cheap name. I don't know if you're interested, but it stood out to me that Sterling Shepard is 3.8. I mentioned the Bucs game. And Chris Godwin, it's weird. He's been back the last 2 weeks, not really done a ton with his targets, but he's not operating in the slot. Like, it's been Sterling Shepard over 50% of the snaps in the slot. which has been a valuable role in the Buccaneers offense. So he's just interesting to me because Godwin's not doing what he used to do.
Yeah, it's not terrible. We'll see.
I like that. That's a good compliment.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Could be worse. But it's like, man, this this type of player used to be 3K. Now he's like 3,800, 4K. Yeah. These guys are so thin down here that sometimes you like talk yourself into it, even though it's not ideal. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what pricing looks like later in the week as far as how you're building in cash games and stuff like that. But if you need a punt, I certainly don't hate it.
Stephon Diggs, the last 2 weeks, has seen over 40% of the team's targets in both games. He's 5,800.
I like it.
Okay. And then one more name. I mentioned Sterling Shepard. There's another rookie wide receiver on the Buccaneers that is 7,200.
Rookie sensation, wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbegbue.
Egbegbue.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention him because 7,200 means he is the wide receiver 5 in pricing, but then CeeDee Lamb is ahead of him. So he's like 4th most expensive wide receiver on the slate.
I mean, he deserves it. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Jacoby Myers. Can I say that I never want to play him again?
Dude, this is hard. And I'm a Jacoby truther. I mean, it probably is the week where like randomly he pops up for one of those 10 target games for 770 and a touchdown. And because we were all on him for 2 weeks in a row, whatever, in cash games without Bowers, it probably happens this week. But man, I'm not going to lie. It does kind of feel like you're just, running into a brick wall here over and over again with him because of how systemically bad the Raiders are is an issue. So maybe in a tournament, but in cash, I don't know if I can stomach it again.
See, here's the problem is like I was totally fine in my little world with my little club that I worked with, my Keenan Allens, Olave. And then you're like, hey, why don't you come over to my Jacoby Myers party? I was like, oh, Betz has talked really good things about Jacoby, his friend Jacoby. Let's go to his house. Dude, I never want to hang out with that dude again.
Now, is it him or is it Geno?
They said that Brock Bowers would be out and it would be good for him. No, it's Geno.
Okay. We're all trying to figure out who did this.
It was cool, though. I don't know if you saw this in the first half of the game. Jack Besh was out pacing him.
I did see Besh on the field.
I was proud of him.
Way to go, Jack.
Tight end, Tyler Warren is still under 5K, so we'll talk about him. In the same game, Trey McBride is 5.5, and he's going to be one of those players that I'm just betting right now, in our expected fantasy points model, which Marvin Eloquin does for the site. I bet Trey McBride is going to be popping.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So those two, circle. You can also circle Ferg Daddy because Jake Ferguson is, I don't know, is he like Tony Gonzalez? Who is he? Because he's super important in this offense. It's the best game environment. He's seeing a ridiculous target share that you can't replicate, and he's only 5.3. So we're gonna keep spending up for tight ends in this range if they're this cheap.
He's on pace for 10.2 touchdowns after not scoring in years.
You want to guess what his targets per out run is?
Oh, let's see.
So context for people if you don't know. If you're a tight end and you're above 20%, you're really involved in your offense. You're really, really good. Just to give you like Tyler Warren's at 24%, Juwan Johnson's at 21%. Hunter Henry is a perfect example. He's a very valuable player in the Patriots offense. He's at 21%.
Darren Waller, 24.5%.
So what do you think? Turd Ferguson's at?
30.1.
32%.
Wow.
It's really, really good. So 5.3, he's going to look great. But would you say overall, spend up for tight end is probably going to be a preference?
It's tough, man. We just talked about Puka and JSN and CMC and Jonathan Taylor. Eventually you got to save money somewhere. So I think those guys are definitely in play. Don't get me wrong, but I could see somebody talking themselves into a Waller, at 4K or something like that, where you do have to save money. So we'll see. I don't want to speak too soon.
If you need to punt, there will be people that say, ooh, Taysom Hill's back. He's only 3K. Hey, Brock Bowers is out again. If Michael Mayer's on the field, he's 3,100. Those are the type of plays that you get when you get down there. Brenton Strange will have to wait on his injury status. So Hunter Long maybe a little Hunter Long action. We'll see later on in the week. At defense, you have 2 spend down options that I think are going to be pretty enticing this week.
Yeah, and we just talked about all those expensive plays. You got to save money somewhere. So usually I'm looking at defense. The Titans taking on the Raiders. Not because of the Titans, because of the Raiders. They are 2,400. And then I don't even mind the Browns at 2,500 taking on the Steelers, in which should be an absolute slugfest AFC North.
This kind of sets up like it was a couple of weeks ago, where you're going to have the pay-up options of the Packers, right, against Jake Browning, they're 3,700. The Steelers against Dylan Gabriel, 3,500. The Rams against whatever quarterback the Ravens throw out there. It's like there's a divide of, are you spending up for these options, or these are really good punt options that you just brought up, Cleveland and Tennessee. So just keep that in mind as you get later on in the week. When you talk about roster percentages, make sure you look at our roster percentage report, and it'll help you kind of identify which plays. Last week, the chalk smashed, but at least we were able to identify these are the plays that the field is going to be playing in cash and in tournaments. If you want to play with us, go to ballersdfs.com. It will direct you to our DraftKings League, Fantasy Footballers DFS, Borg, and Betz. You can enter a contest. I saw some people on Monday night win in one of our contests. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Betz, I'm going to need you to sign us off, and I will not talk to you in a week.
The next time we talk to Kyle, the Falcons will have knocked off the Buffalo Bills in primetime. Should be a great week for Kyle. Should be a great week for all of us because you get Rich on the show. On Friday, we'll be back then to break down the main slate, give some player props, all that good stuff. We'll catch you then. Have a good week.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at thefantasyfootballers.com.